Discover the best in local business news with a subscription to the IBJ and Inside Indiana Business. For a limited time, try us out for just $1 a week for 8 weeks. Claim this limited time offer now at ibj.com/trial offer.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the morning of Friday, February 13th, 2026. I'm Alex Brown. Today marks 100 days until the 110th running of the Indianapolis 500. Indianapolis Motor Speedway and IndyCar president Doug Boles says ticket sales are up about 10% year over year, marking the fastest ticket sales pace since the 100th running a decade ago, which could lead to a second consecutive sellout.
Where we kind of announced that sellout the last week leading into the 500 last year, I wouldn't be surprised if it's sometime the 1st of May. We are way ahead and ticket sales continue to keep going, and that's a tribute to our fans and the product that our drivers put on.
We'll hear more from Boles on the run-up to the Indy 500 on this weekend's edition of Inside Indiana Business Television. The Knox County Chamber of Commerce on Thursday announced Michelle Smith as its next president. Smith, who will begin her new role March 1st, has served as executive director of the Knox County Solid Waste Management District for the past decade. She succeeds Jamie Neal, who stepped down last month to become president and executive director of the Indiana Chamber Executives Association. A new ranking released by the National Academy of Inventors shows Purdue University remains among the top universities in the world for U.S. utility patents. Purdue is ranked number 12 with 172 patents from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office in 2025. The university fell 5 spots from number 7 on the 2024 list. From the number 1 source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick, coming to you this week from Northwest Indiana, Jeffersonville, Muncie, South Bend, in downtown Evansville, Terre Haute, Fort Wayne, Richmond, from one of the state's key entrepreneurial and innovation hubs, 16 Tech. Inside Indiana Business, Indiana's business news leader.
The Indianapolis Metropolitan Development Commission hearing examiner on Thursday gave the first approval for a data center in the Martindale-Brightwood neighborhood, despite fierce opposition from neighborhood groups since plans for the project were first announced.
The data center is planned for a nearly 14-acre parcel at the former site of the Sherman Drive-In, which is currently zoned for industrial use. Los Angeles-based Metro Blocks had asked to rezone the site from industrial to special commercial. Additionally, the company requested exceptions to zoning standards that would allow the building to be 70 feet tall, have fewer parking spaces, and sit closer to the street. Attorneys representing Metro Blocks first made plans for a data center in Martindale-Brightwood public in September. Residents quickly organized against the project, citing the neighborhood's history of heavy industrial work, leaving behind environmental contamination. Judy Wirtz Hall, the hearing examiner, gave a long preface to her approval Thursday before announcing it to the audience gathered in the public assembly room at the Indianapolis City County building, many of whom were vehemently opposed to the project. Wirtz Hall said Metro Blocks had submitted data to show its water and energy use would be limited, and the company has agreed to commitments that will make the project fit in the community. That isn't the final say on the project. Neighborhood groups are allowed to appeal the decision to the Metropolitan Development Commission. Sierra Johnson, spokesperson for the Protect Martindale-Brightwood Coalition, told reporters the coalition plans to do so. The 9-member Metropolitan Development Commission will hear the petition on March 4th. Abriana Herron, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
The board of directors for the Horizon League has selected Jill Bodensteiner as its next commissioner, the Indianapolis-based athletic conference announced Thursday. Bodensteiner, who will begin her tenure April 15th, currently serves as vice president and director of athletics at St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia. She succeeds Julie Rowe Latch, who announced in October she was leaving the conference to become executive vice president of external relations and community engagement for Pacers Sports and Entertainment. Sporting news columnist Mike DeCourcy is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports and entertainment, and beyond. Available now on the IBJ Media app or your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio On Demand. Stay ahead with Inside Indiana Business Radio On Demand, your go-to source for the latest business news across the Hoosier State. Join hosts Gary Dick and Alex Brown every weekday morning and afternoon for concise updates on Indiana's top business stories. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast app or listen at ibjpodcasts.com.
Do you want to know what really drives change in Indiana? You won't find it in sound bites, you'll find it in stories. Stories from CEOs, lawyers, coaches, entrepreneurs, and community advocates. That's the IBJ Media Podcast Network. Insightful, local, impactful. Find all of our shows by searching IBJ Media in your podcast app or visit ibjpodcast.com.